And the reason why we have a lot of sporting analogies saying this is like basketball, this is like chess, this is like a lot of other sports, this is like NFL gridiron, as we see another timeout taken there by Chenal. So the 3-2 on the Swiss scoreboard is going to go down to 2-2. There it is, that's their second timeout taken. Rules were taken from, inspired by all sorts of other sports. We'll do this one. So the over and back is like a backcourt violation. If you've taken the ball into the front of the court, the attacking half of the court, then you can't take it back into your defending part of the court. Works in basketball, let's take it for our sport.
Absolutely.
And works brilliantly that way. And it means that people watching it for the first time will see familiarities with other sports, as Jonathan Vargas, the coach for Colombia, I think saying that Jeremy Chenal had gone out of bounds, but Chenal pops that one over to Dautai, and once again we are back to a 3-point lead for the Swiss. Excellent passing, excellent hands there by Dautai. And
the chairs are hooked up on each other, so the player gets to call equipment, but the ball ends up back in their hands again for the throw-in.
Roscoe just manages to keep hold of that one, and he needs to, well, remain in play while he has the ball. And a huge pass forward by Vargas. Rodriguez knows that she won't be able to wriggle away out of that one, and that one is an over and back.
Yep.
Just what we were talking about 1 minute ago. So the ball was in the attacking half of the court as far as Colombia were concerned, and they sent it back into their defensive half, which you can't do, and that means it's a turnover. And Switzerland are beginning to edge clear in this match. Switzerland 12th in the world, Colombia 10th, but the Swiss showing a lot of discipline.
Absolutely, and every time there's a turnover is an opportunity for a goal, so you just have to be so careful and so accurate. And that's what the Swiss are doing in this game.
Changes for Switzerland. Anton Michukov, the number 10, has come on, having replaced Roger Frey. I'm calling him Roger Frey, but he's a youngster. And obviously Switzerland has German-speaking, French-speaking, Italian-speaking parts, and Roger always used to be Roger, and then a certain Roger Federer came along and said that his name was Roger, and his mother was South African, so he went as Roger as opposed to Roger, and then all of a sudden Swiss people called Roger decided that their name was Roger instead. So it could well be Roger Frey, could well be a Roger Frey.
Beautiful.
Nice little bounce pass there from Yves Langhart. Colombia now find themselves 4 points adrift, while Jeremy Chenal has a quick wheel change.
It's going to be tough to kind of roll that around when you don't have a large rotation of players, and then your high pointer might be feeling a bit of fatigue, but it's just it's on him.
Another M that you could see from referee Kim Yun-ho. Looks like the M of YMCA, and I presume the M stands for mechanic.
Possibly.
Every player I ask, they look at me and go, oh, suppose so, yes.
There you go.
But it does look like an M. They point to the, they lean over their shoulders and point into the neck, and it looks like the M of YMCA.
I think you've done a little bit much dancing in the 80s.
It's probably that, yes. So, M for Martinez is the one who inbounds there to Orozco. And where are the Swiss? The answer is they are setting up in front of the key.
And when you're defending, you're only allowed 3 of your 4 players in the key.
It's in the painted area there that you can see. That Michukov has just put a wheel in. Dautai gets that one. They need to get the ball over the halfway line. And he's looking for Genal, and it ends up being Michukov who takes it. A few bounce passes we've seen today from the Swiss, and they're working well. And one of the Colombian players had left the court. I think it was Neme.
Three players on him.
3 players on Orozco, and that means that Vargas is free to cruise over.
And the Swiss will be just keeping that pressure on him, keeping him away from the ball.
If there's only the 1 3-pointer, then you can do that, but we saw that New Zealand were trying to do it against Brazil's 2 3-pointers. They have Braz and Feitosa. And if Braz don't get you, then Feitosa will, seem to be the case yesterday for New Zealand.
They just had so much pace on them, and then we don't have a 3.5 in the New Zealand team. So it was just hard for them to keep up with that level of intensity.
Martinez picks up the ball, and then a nice little handoff to Vargas.
A key point of strategy when you're a low pointer is just to turn away from the threats, keep the ball covered until help comes, where you can bounce it off or throw it off, but you need help to come to you for that throw. You can't just generally pop it over someone's head, because there's a risk and there'll be a turnover.
Into the last 3 minutes of this first half. Dautai again pops it over to Genal. European teams like to attack the key. They like to get a lot of people forward into the key, and you've seen that's the way Switzerland are doing it today, popping. Even if the key is packed, they know that they can put in a very accurate pass. Seen Genal, Dautai picking up the passes.
Here in New Zealand, we call that play the European, where you sit in there, you wait for the pass over the top. It's the European.
And what's the signature move for the Bay of Plenty steamrollers then that you play for?
Just to try not to lose, really.
Turning up on time,
Turning
making
up
sure
on
you've got
time.
enough players.
Yep, yep. We give it our best. We're just a team with lots of low pointers and no mid ranges, and feel very grateful. There's a low point program these days too, and low point nationals and internationals.
Yes, there's been low point World Cups.
And that's great, you know, giving 1.5 as your highest level of function, and it's a slower game, and it's a strategic game, and it's stunning. It just makes it easier for those watching to learn how to play wheelchair rugby, because there's less pace.
Doing the European thing again, the Swiss.
Look at that, nice Hail Mary over the top.
Vargas picks it up.
Lots of pressure.
And goes this way and that to avoid Dautai. Yes, there's been a low point World Cup. There's also been women's tournaments and women's Euros, and we were saying before that it's always been a mixed sport, but having low point tournaments and women's tournaments just means that there's more tournaments to play in, more rugby to play.
More opportunities to play. When I started playing here in New Zealand, there was only 2 women, but over the time there's at least 10 of us now. So it's just opening up opportunities. I think it's making other wahine, other women know that it's actually a really inclusive sport, and they should just come and give it a nudge.
Another equipment timeout. Equipment timeouts are always very short.
Two low pointers with the ball here.
Neme to Martinez, and she manages to get the ball free very well. Gets it to Orozco. Orozco very much the get out of jail free card as far as Colombia are concerned, and you can hear them counting down.
Scoring on that 55.
It's the mathematics that we were talking about earlier. If you score with 55 seconds to go, you know you're guaranteed at least one more possession.
Turnover, beautiful.
Well, as we saw at the end of the first quarter, it's starting to get a little bit loose, or the intensity is, let's put it another way, the intensity is ramping up. A minute or so to go, turnovers. So we saw Dautai throwing out a long pass that was picked off by Orozco. Orozco there losing the ball, and it originally looked as if, indeed, I thought Colombia had maintained possession there. They have indeed. It's a corner inbound, that's a tough one. It was a dead ball, so it meant that Coach Vargas could make a change. So Martinez has gone off. Rodriguez has come on. And they're going to set up and take all 25 seconds if they can. Make sure they score last, and all of a sudden it's only a 2-point game.
7 seconds on the they've just called time. Yep.
So calling time now means that the shot clock goes back up to 15 seconds. You can see the game clock is 14.8 seconds. So Colombia have the 14.8 seconds left. Doesn't go up to 15. You can't add time onto the game clock. You can add time onto the shot clock. So they now have 14.8 seconds in which to get the last score of the half, reduce the deficit to 2, and they will have the possession arrow at the start of the third quarter. Can they score, though? That's the main thing. You'll hear them counting down in Spanish. Can Orozco get over? He certainly can.
Beautiful.
The deficit is down to 2. Switzerland have 3.5 seconds. So clock starts once the inbound is touched now, and they're just going to keep that in their laps, make sure there isn't a turnover. This is the kind of match we are hoping for between 10th and 12th in the world. It's Colombia 23, Switzerland 25 at the big break. We are back at the New Zealand campus of Innovation and Sport. It's the final day of group matches at the 2024 World Wheelchair Rugby Paralympic Qualification Tournament. These teams are not going to make it through to the Paralympics. They can't get through to the semi-finals, but they are playing for ranking points, and they're playing for pride, and they're playing one heck of a match, the two of them. Ranked 10th in the world, Colombia 23, Switzerland 12th in the world, 25. So the Swiss with a 2-point advantage at the moment.
And we've had a player being tipped on the far side there.
A mere 9 seconds in, and already quick stoppage in play. Uriel Rodriguez having to be flipped back up. Neme with the inbound, and it's Colombia who got the last point of the second quarter, and they're looking to get the first point of the third quarter because the possession arrow was in their favour, and that will make it a 1-point contest if they can get over, and they can. Good pass there from Orozco to Vargas. Amanda Lowry alongside me, we were discussing during the break who we thought was going to win this one, and we thought, well, it's whoever can commit the fewer errors.
That's pretty much it. And both teams are quite evenly matched with skills, but it's an errors game, and climbing up like 3 points is tough.
Switzerland with a slight advantage on the scoreboard. Obviously, you can see there 26-24. So Colombia need to get themselves a turnover as soon as possible. Even if they do get a turnover on this possession, that would make it 25-26. You're chasing the game, and it can be tiring. Even if you do get yourself level, you then need to maintain that standard and then carry on and try to get into a lead. It's not just getting over the deficit.
No.
Orozco takes it up over the halfway line, taking matters into his own hands, and over he goes coast to coast.
And the Colombian players trying to take out that high pointer. There's a scrabble for the ball, and there's a turnover.
Orozco's come away with it, and there is the turnover, and all of a sudden, we're dead level. How about that? Within the first minute of this second half, the Swiss, we're talking about minimizing the errors. Swiss precision and efficiency, using the old cliches. They've turned the ball over once. Colombia have leveled the score.
Is number 4, is he being sin-binned or no?
It looks like it. It looks as if Kristen Hempfling is going to send John Orozco. Yeah, definitely hit him from behind, didn't he? There. So Orozco in the sin bin. Rather lucky there from Switzerland's point of view. Orozco was trying to push Genal out of bounds, and he ended up flipping him over, which you're not allowed to do. And so Switzerland are going to make the most of this. Roger Frey has come back on for them. Number 25 there is Samuel Schwarz. So they're running a different lineup, the Swiss. They can afford to do that. They've got plenty on the bench, whereas, as we saw earlier, Colombia just got the 3 fit players available for them. So there's not going to be a whole lot of rotation. Colombia, though, who have got things back, more or less. They're a point behind and in possession. So they've done the hard work and done it early in this second half. Orozco needs to get it over the halfway line.
Not over in 12.
Failed to do so. The ball wasn't over. And you can see Jonathan Vargas, who got up there and was saying you should have taken a time out. Colombia with 3 timeouts left.
At this stage, you just can't risk those kind of mistakes.
Schwartz with the inbound. Chanel going this way and that. Tries to barge his way in. Various players in the key, and one of them is Michukov. Vargas hemmed in. Needs to release the ball, needs to get it over the halfway line again. Does so. Just about picked up there and knocked out of play. Not quite knocked out of play before the timeout signal.
That was a very fast call.
It was bang bang. Was Neme over the line before the timeout signal was called? No, he wasn't. So you can see Colombia have gone down to 2 timeouts. They've learnt their lesson from the last play when Orozco failed to get the ball over the halfway line within the allotted 12 seconds. And that's it. If you take a timeout and convert it into a point, you think you've done the right thing. You've used it wisely.
Absolutely. Seems to be a bit more intensity on the court at the moment.
27 plays 28. 10th versus 12th in the world. A tight contest is exactly the kind of rugby that you like to see. Amanda, are you one of those players that takes timeouts left, right and centre, or are you a bit reticent?
No, I'm a bit...
You're quite outspoken. I thought you'd been quite...
I'm a bit reticent. I'll take them when I have to.
It's not like in cricket you get certain players who review absolutely everything, even though it's plumb LBW or out, and you think you've just burnt one of the reviews for the team. You're a bit reticent. You don't want to burn your team's timeouts.
No, we need them. We'll use them and we'll need them, and we'll make points off them if we can.
It's the main thing. If you take a timeout, make a point from it.
Big long pass.
It was a huge pass, and Frey it is who goes over. Roscoe with a give and go. Neme making great progress.
That's an incredible pace for a one-pointer.
Really is, isn't it?
Seriously, and beautiful use of a screen.
Michukov
up on one wheel.
Frey has to make sure he stays within bounds.
That was close.
And Genal just in control of the ball before his wheels went over the try line. 2-point game for Switzerland, 2-point lead. Orozco bouncing the ball, as you have to do every 10 seconds.
Roscoe working hard to keep the ball out of number 9's hands and stop them from getting over half and 12.
Chanel back to Schwartz. Schwartz with limited options. Frey
and the turnover
puts it straight into the lap of Orozco, and once again we're level. What we haven't had so far in this match is a lead for Colombia. I think if they can take the lead, that would be huge. Switzerland looking a bit nervous here and there. Frey just managing to get over the line before touching the cone.
So it's those front 2 casters that have to get over. Doesn't matter if the back wheels hit secondary.
And then Orozco just scoots down the other end. Now, the winner of this match will finish 3rd in Group A and play the team that finishes 4th in Group B in the first lot of playoff matches. And then the winner of that gets to play off for 5th and 6th. And so the winner of this match will play New Zealand. So the All Blacks will be watching on to see who their next opponents will be and how to play against them.
And straight away you'll see teams, the minute the goal, the try's about to be scored, they're already transitioning into that defensive play, trying to keep the threats out of the way and make it difficult for the other team to get across half. It's just so fast.
Yes, we mentioned a lot of similarities with basketball. That is very much the case. As soon as you score, you have to get straight back on defence.
Transition is the key, really. Well, turnover.
Another lost ball, and Schwartz unable to pick that one up. So Colombia now with 40 seconds in which to score. And the safest thing for them to do is give it to Orozco. And for the first time in this contest, the South Americans take the lead. Almost 21 minutes into this 32-minute contest, and they have finally taken the lead. How long can they hold on to it for? That was close from Genal, and we're going to have a break in play, which I don't think is any bad thing as far as the Swiss are concerned.
But it was a reach, because when he fell, he held on to number 9's chair.
And we'll see that in slow motion here. Illegal contact, so now that Vargas is back up, he will be dispatched to the sidelines.
Not exactly perfect timing if you're trying to maintain a lead.
It's good for the Swiss because the part of the court that they're attacking is where their bench is, so I'm sure Adi Moser will have had a few words of wisdom to impart to his teammates there. 4-on-3, and they're still making hard work of it at 4-on-3. 4-on-3, or another way of looking at it, is 8-on-6, because 2 points are in the sin bin at the moment. And they've blocked Vargas from coming out, and he's stuck. They put a trap on him.
And he's chosen not to inbound, so
yes, you can't see Vargas at the moment. He's stuck just outside the sin bin. So it's pretty much a 3-on-3 at the moment, and a 3-on-3 you'd back Orozco, you'd back the team with a high pointer, and that is exactly what's happened. Orozco with the outlet, the pass to Neme. Chanel's just picking that one up, but he's not going to have the wheels to get past Orozco.
There's equipment on number 3 there. You heard his tyre pop as the low pointer hit him. So those chairs with the pick bars out the front, they do massive damage to the high point chairs.
On goes the wheel. And that's good for Switzerland in that they were struggling. Genal had been trapped by Orozco, so they now have around 20 seconds in which to try to break through the key defense of the Colombians. You can just see to the right of your screen, they're all setting up in front of the key. Ball lost and regained. You can't spend more than 10 seconds in the key. And is that the case? I think of Michikov. No, well, the ball is going to be inbounded.
They managed to call a time, I think.
Well, a timeout has been called by Switzerland. With Michikov stuck in the key, there was no way he could get out. If you go over the try line without the ball, then that's a penalty. So they called a timeout because he was stuck inside the key. So Switzerland have used their last timeout. 15 seconds on the shot clock for them to score. And this is a huge play here. Switzerland really need to score this one. They've taken their final timeout. Chenal creeps in round the side. That was some good European attacking there. And it's back to 35 all. Switzerland have made the best use of their timeout. It's 35 apiece, but Colombia have possession and they have 2 timeouts left. I would say advantage Colombia at the moment as we go into the last 2 minutes of the third quarter. But it's going to be absolutely huge who scores last. Switzerland will have possession at the start of the fourth quarter. This game is on a knife edge. Frey. Has he got the wheels to outpace? He got Neme, that he was always going to be quicker than. Orozco, who was quicker than him, coming up behind him. Who is going to get the last score of this quarter? Attempted reach in there by Michukov.
Nice long pass down to number 10.
Rodriguez taking his time. Teams have lots of different timestamps. We know that it's good to score on 55 or 105, and then you can add on certain time periods to that. You'll have the big teams.
And lost ball.
Of course, timestamps don't mean anything if you lose the ball. Now, Orozco got his hand to that when it came loose, and it went out off him. So the Swiss get another bite of the cherry. Switzerland, though, have been living on the edge in this half. Frey gets it over the top, and that is a loose pass, and it's gone into the lap of Vargas. Colombia with a turnover. If they can get a 2-point lead, no, it's gone the other way. So one turnover produces another. Chenal will come over and score on 55 seconds. And how on earth have the Swiss managed to do that?
Wow.
That wasn't in any playbook.
It's exciting.
It is thrilling stuff. 2 turnovers on the one play. Momentum swinging this way and that. Orozco doing the Hayden Barton Coots, saying, I've got a bigger span than anyone else. Is that a reaching foul there? Or was it a timeout called?
Looks like a time.
Reaching foul wouldn't be what you want to do in the last minute or so. I've had the privilege of commentating alongside Chris Ryan, who was captain of Great Britain when they won the Paralympics. They are the reigning Paralympic champions, and Chris was captain, and then he's retired since, and he's going on to play table tennis at the highest level. So wish him all the best of luck with that. But he was telling me that they were told that the last 90 seconds or so, it was hands in pockets. You do not give away a reaching foul when you're getting down to the last 90 seconds or 60 seconds of a quarter.
And so if we end up with a tie here, it will roll into a 3-minute overtime. Depends on who can keep their cool, really.
Exactly. Well, we're a little way away from that. We have 43.4 seconds left in the third quarter, but this is the first time that we have been talking about the possibility of a tie in a match, and those are always thrilling. So the Colombians setting themselves up. They took a timeout. They may well take another one. They're going to...
They've got 10 seconds to score.
Well, they're going to get down to 15 on the game clock and then reset by taking another timeout. 15.5. So that means that the shot clock and the game clock are more or less the same. They've burnt a timeout to do it. That way they've got 15 seconds in which to score and get the last score of the quarter. And we've been talking about these mathematics, all the time stamps, and this is where it really comes into practice. Orozco trying to find his way in, 6 seconds to go. He's going to get over, and he does so, and he leaves the Swiss with 1.8 seconds. And this is going to be a case of put the ball in your lap, don't lose it. So we are going to go into the final quarter with Colombia with the tightest of leads, 38-37 over Switzerland. We're back for the final quarter of this absolute thriller between Colombia, 10th in the world, Switzerland, 12th in the world. And there is almost nothing to choose between them. 38-37, Colombia lead. It's the Swiss with the inbound and the possession. So if they score off this possession, they will make it a tie game.
And you see what they're doing there? They're using the line as a holding a player in. It's beautiful.
Well, the baseline and the sideline count as an extra defender, really, because if you can get one of your opponents out over the sideline, then it's a turnover. And when it's only 4 players on court at any one time, then you get all the advantages you possibly can. And one of the advantages that Colombia have is that man there, John Orozco. I think Colombia are going to live and die by how well Orozco plays in the final 8 minutes. We were saying at the start of the match he's likely to play all 32 minutes. Well, he's played 24 and a half so far. See changes there, and they've brought on Paulo Martinez, playing alongside Julian Vargas and Neme. Swiss going with Armin Dautai back on. And
12 seconds, not over half.
Turnover. Dautai did not get the ball over the halfway line within the allotted 12 seconds, and they have no timeouts left. Neither team has a timeout. So this is just going to be the two teams going at it, hammer and tongs. They've got no timeouts other than the coach's timeouts, which can't be used tactically, only on a dead ball. So these teams are just going to have to go at it, and whoever has, well, I was about to say whoever has more points at the end of it will win, which is a great sporting cliche,
well,
but
you
know what I mean.
Yeah.
Colombia with the biggest lead that they have had in this contest.
It's putting a heap of pressure on Switzerland.
Swarming defence, not letting them get out. Dautai picks that one up, and they're trying to push him over the line.
Yep, and they managed it, and it's a turnover.
No timeouts, of course, so he couldn't call a timeout. He knew he was going to be barged from behind. Got rid of the ball, but a thou too late, and all of a sudden, Colombia with the opportunity to have the biggest lead of the contest, and they do, 41-38. Things have really turned around. It was 33 all. Colombia got their first lead, and here they are now, looking to ice the contest.
Again, another turnover.
Things getting very loose from the Swiss. Coach Jonathan Vargas for Colombia is going to be delighted with this, as his brother Julian goes over and makes it a 4-point game.
It's going to be tricky for the Swiss.
Coach's timeout called by Switzerland, because this has been an awful start for them. It was 38-37 a minute and a half ago when we got the fourth quarter underway, and they had possession to tie things up, and since then it's gone all the way of the Colombians. So much so that their coach there just wandering away and thinking, I've done this, my job is done, I don't need to tell them anything, they know what they've got to do. Adi Moser, on the other hand, with his beanie on there, well, what could he possibly have told his charges there? I suppose the one thing you can tell them is, we've just let them get 4 points in a row, so it is possible to get 4 points in a row. It's just up to us to do it now. Now, play will continue as long as the ball carrier is aiming towards the try line, and that was the case. So Switzerland score, and now a mechanic will come back and get Orozco back on two wheels.
And that's always a fault for newbies when you're first learning. You sort of get a bit excited and turn around to look at the player that's been flipped, and then it's a turnover. You have to hand over the ball. Beautiful use of screens.
Vargas managing to weave this way and that. Over goes Orozco, and it's back to 4 points. 6 minutes left. Switzerland forced into a lot of desperation passes. Is Dautai going to get on the end of this? Yes, he is. Switzerland need to put a lot of pressure on the inbounds here. They're trying to keep tabs on Orozco. And there he is with the ball. Needs to get the ball over the halfway line. Couldn't take it himself. Big hit by Genal. Needs to bounce the ball every 10 seconds.
Or offload it, which he managed to do.
Offloaded it perfectly there. An offload is as good as a bounce. Get the ball to Orozco, and he will score. It's another giveaway. It's another turnover. And what a fourth quarter performance this has been from Colombia.
It's incredible. They've come out with such intensity.
The ball handed off to Orozco once again. Taking his time. Time is the enemy of Switzerland at the moment. Si, senor. Give the ball to John, and he will score. He was the top scorer at the Parapan Games, where Colombia finished 4th. They defeated Brazil in the group stages, but lost in the bronze medal match. Brazil, of course, under coach Benoit Labrec, going from strength to strength, and they have a chance to make it through to the semi-finals. And they're still in with a shot of qualifying for the Paralympics. Final coach's timeout has been called. I don't think there's a lot that the Swiss can do. Well, Paula Martinez can feel pretty proud of herself. She's come out for the 4th quarter, played the first 4 minutes of it, and look at that, they lead by 5 points.
That's stunning. I didn't see that at the beginning. You just saw such an equally matched team, it looked like. And
as soon as Switzerland were out of timeouts, then all of a sudden they were rushed, and it's been a catalogue of errors from them.
Yeah.
That's why you need to be reticent with your timeouts.
Exactly. Can maintain some composure, which I will learn from someone else.
So that was indeed a try for Roger Frey.
Big hit. He's just got the pace.
Yes, he was always going to get away from Samuel Schwarz there. Let's go back to your high school German. Schwarz means?
Black.
Exactly. There we go.
Oh, stop it.
Next up after this, it will be the team in Schwarz, the Wheel Blacks, who will be in action. They're in action at 3:30 today, taking on Canada. Reverses over the line does JJ. Jeremy Genal. Vargas. A reaching foul from Dautai. Frustration on his face. Bit of a shrug of the shoulders. You might very well say that, referee, but I don't believe that. Be that as it may, Switzerland down to 3. This is ideal. This is grist to the mill for the Colombians. They can take all 40 seconds, get a point, run some time off the clock. This is just what they want.
What does grist to the mill mean for someone not born in 1800s?
When you need it, it's like a powder that was put on milling machines to make sure that the blades worked more efficiently.
Okay, good learning.
There we go.
Good, thanks for that. And Colombia.
Down into the last 3 minutes almost, and Colombia are 5 points clear. It needs to be perfect rugby from here on in for the Swiss, and that's going to be, well, that's what they need. They need a quick score, and now they need a couple of turnovers. Schwarz picking up that huge pass from Dautai, who came straight out of the bin, said, I'll inbound, and the way to inbound is getting one all the way up the court, and that was all but a steal there. That's what the Swiss needed. They needed to pick up that loose ball. As it is, Vargas gives it to Orozco, and Colombia are going to take their time and score. They needed that turnover there, the Swiss. Genal going this way and that. Tries to get over the halfway line and ends up sending the ball over there. Dautai finishes it off. 2.5 minutes to go. They need a turnover, and they need it on this play right now.
And that's not going to happen.
Orozco with a wonderful pass, and Vargas is going to take his own sweet time. A point and another 20 seconds off the clock. Hanel is now on for Switzerland. Vargas needs an equipment change. I really do think it was the lack of timeouts that has flustered the Swiss, because it was dead level. They had their noses in front all the way through the contest. Colombia pulled level in the third and then just got ahead, but Switzerland was still had the possession arrow, so it was neck and neck. And then the fact that they had no timeouts has led to them making so many errors, and errors were just not part of the Swiss game in the first 24 minutes of this contest.
Not at all. They're looking like a different team.
They're missing one of their main mid-pointers, Dave MZ, their captain, and he's a real driving force for them, a motivator, and I'm sure he would have been able to keep them a little bit calmer and help them make some better decisions had he been out there. So we look forward to seeing him back in a Swiss jersey at some point soon.
Is he a 3.5?
No, they do not have a 3.5. They've just got mid-pointers, so Dave's another 2.0.
But you look at how well they're holding their own without that level of firepower. I mean, there's hats off to them, really.
Yes, they've never had it, so it's not as if they've lost a 3.5 and suddenly had to adapt their game.
Yeah, got it.
They've always had an embarrassment of riches of the mid-pointers, so that's the way they play. Ball fired forward to Dautai again, and he needs to score quickly. So this really is the last chance saloon for them. They need swarming defence. They need to get their hands on the ball immediately. Colombia need to get the ball over the halfway line, and that's just going to evade the attempts of Christian Amaya, who's come on for his first bit of game time in this contest. So it's a corner inbound. Switzerland have got a turnover, but they need to toss the ball forward as quickly as they possibly can. Dautai is going to try and do it himself, get the ball over the halfway line. Orozco's there. So there's one. They've got 1 point back. They need another 3 of those in the next 62 seconds, though.
No pressure.
Nervous times for Colombia here. Boxed in. No timeouts they can use. This is where you do have to try to reach in if you're the Swiss. And there we go.
Look at that.
Orozco is there.
And he'll now just take some time.
Coach Vargas has run through his lines there. Manuel Monga, the number 14, has come on. Orozco, as you say, Amanda, takes his time, and that has iced the game for Colombia. 4 points clear with 36 seconds to go. This could be the last possession of the contest. The final group game for these two teams. 3rd and 4th place was up for grabs, and it was in the balance right up until the start of this 4th quarter. A 4th quarter that Colombia have taken by the scruff of the neck.
They just didn't stop with their intensity.
And Colombia will be the next opponents, or the next but one opponents for New Zealand. New Zealand still have to play Canada in their final group game, coming up at 3:30 today. But tomorrow they will face Colombia to see who goes into the 5th and 6th place playoff. And New Zealand versus Colombia could be a very tough battle.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great to watch, actually.
There'll be a big crowd here for that as well on Saturday. Dautai fires one forward, but that ball is going to, oh, beautiful blocking by Orozco. And no time came off the shot clock and nobody touched it, so the ball is going to go all the way back to the other end of the court and start with a corner inbound. And it's Colombia who get that corner inbound. Amaya, he's going to give it to Orozco. You'd have thought if Orozco can get his hands on it. And he does, and he's going to... Oh, he even wanted to finish with a blaze of glory. Tossed it over the top, and time has expired. And in an amazing fourth quarter turnaround, Colombia have defeated Switzerland 52-48. They've got their first win of the tournament. They finish third in Group A and will go on to face New Zealand in the start of the 5th to 8th place playoffs that will be on Saturday. And they are still looking, they can finish as high as 5th in the tournament. So too can Switzerland. It'll just be a tougher path for them. But Colombia probably pretty much looking the 5th best team at this tournament from what we've seen so far. They gave a great account of themselves, particularly in that fourth quarter.
And Roscoe's such a powerhouse. That's going to be interesting to watch how New Zealand manages him.
He was the difference today. Switzerland without a 3.5-pointer, and Colombia always had that outlet. They had the big gun, John Orozco. They also had a female player on their team in Paula Martinez. That meant they could run 8.5 points out there, but there he is, John Orozco. Top try scorer at the Parapan Games in November that saw Colombia qualify for this qualification tournament. And he can't be off being top scorer here after that performance today. So those are the matches that we have today. Colombia having defeated Switzerland 52-48. We're going to have Brazil versus the Netherlands in just over an hour's time. And that is going to be an absolute showdown. Whoever wins that goes through to the semi-finals. New Zealand playing for pride, trying to regroup as they play their Commonwealth rivals Canada, and then Australia versus Germany. Two teams that have guaranteed first two spots in Group B, so whoever wins that one will finish first and avoid playing Canada in the semi-final. So Australia will be keen to get a win in that one and avoid Canada in the semis. Germany, if they finish, whoever loses the match between Australia and Germany will have to face the winners of the opposite group. And we've got Brazil versus Netherlands looking to make it through to the semis, where they will face the winners of Group A. So Brazil, Netherlands will likely face Australia, you would have thought. And then Canada finding themselves up against Germany. But all still up for grabs. If Germany can beat Austria, then that would Australia, that would change the seedings around. Waiting to see if we can talk to any of the players after the match. The Swiss, they speak pretty good English, but they're not going to be in a very talkative mood, I don't think, is the long and the short of it. Whereas the Colombians, they'll be delighted and happy to talk, but they all speak Spanish. And our colleague Jai Waite is waiting to see if he can grab any of them. If it's a Colombian, then it will have to be with an interpreter. And we do have an interpreter, Regina. And which player is she going to be able to bring over with her? And she has Uriel Rodriguez with her. So Jai Waite is going to be talking with the help of Regina, the interpreter, to Uriel Rodriguez. Here we go.
Español. Sorry, what's your name?
¿Cuál es su nombre? Julián Rodríguez. Uriel.
Uriel. Hola, Uriel. How was that game?
¿Cómo estuvo el juego?
Pues al principio estuvo un poco complicado y nos costó mucho el inicio.
At the beginning was a bit complicated and they had a hard start, but then it was okay.
And mañana, Nueva Zelanda, so you know who you're playing tomorrow. How do you go against New Zealand?
Mañana tienen a Nueva Zelanda. ¿Cómo crees que le va a ir?
Pues este partido que tuvimos nos subió un poco el ánimo después de 2 derrotas y pues vamos a dar lo mejor de nosotros. Sabemos que es el local y es un equipo fuerte, entonces pues vamos a tratar de controlarlo lo más que podamos.
After this match, they have the moral a bit up because they have won. So they know that the local is tomorrow, and they know they're strong. So they are still going to give the best they can, and they're just going to put everything on the field.
Good luck. Gracias.
Suerte.
That was Uriel Rodriguez of Colombia, delighted with the victory, and someone who is obviously disappointed with the defeat is Roger Frey, the 2-pointer from Switzerland, and he's going to talk to Jai Wait now.
Oh, sorry, what's your... welcome. How was the game for you?
It was a tight one. We expected them like they are with this lineup, and we in the first quarter and in the second we made our lines and our decisions so that we planned, but then it was going worse and worse.
And so the loser of the next game you'll be playing tomorrow. So Netherlands, Brazil, who do you hope to play?
Doesn't matter. I enjoy both.
All right, well, good luck, and good luck for tomorrow.
Roger Frey there, putting a brave face on things. So they ran all the lines they wanted to do, but it just got worse and worse for them. That is pretty much what happened in the fourth quarter for Switzerland. So they finish 4th in Group A, and they will face the losers of the next match, which is Brazil versus the Netherlands. The losers of the next match will not go through to the semi-finals. The winners will be 2nd in the group. So Brazil versus Netherlands, it's a huge showdown coming up there, with a place in the top 4 up for grabs, and whoever wins that one will still be in the running to make it through to the Paralympics. That match starts in 1 hour's time, Brazil versus the Netherlands, so don't miss that one.